Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Let's go TV.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Face from Flight School TV, and I'm here with Stephen Powell.
Absolutely.
Stephen Powell Garment. And if y'all not familiar, recently I posted a picture on Instagram of an upcoming interview I got coming out with Corey Gilkey, the owner of Leaders. And a lot of people was asking me as soon as I posted that picture, like, man, bro, like, where Corey get that hoodie from? Where that hoodie from? And initially, I couldn't even give him a response. Like, I'm like, man, off the top of my head, I don't know, because Corey ain't really tell me. But then as I started doing some investigation, which I do, because, you know, I got a company, so I'm always looking for, especially if I see the intrigue with people like asking questions about it, then I'm going to look into it. I'm going to try to find out who own that brand and reach out to them. Hopefully we can sit down and talk. And that's what eventually led to me sitting with you. Even though I'm very familiar with you, you know, from me shopping at Freestyle, you know, the restaurant. Make sure y'all check out Freestyle.
Good brother.
And I'll see you a couple times at Boxville, and at all the Leaders event, I'm always seeing you in the mix. So I'm definitely familiar with, you know what I'm saying, seeing you.
Okay.
So like, I was talking to you off camera, and you was telling me the name Stephen Powell attached to your brand. You was telling me it's a story behind that. I didn't want to ask no questions because I wanted to get it on camera, but I'm curious, like, what's that story you was gonna tell
Oh
me?
man, that's amazing. So I started off. I had a business partner by the name of Philea Carter. We started a company called Carter and Powell, and shortly after, Philea went to do other things, and I was an individual, and I needed a name for my brand. And Corey and Diego was like, "Why not name it yourself?"
Yeah.
You know, Ralph Lauren did,
Right.
Tom Ford did.
Right.
Like, why not make Stephen Powell a household name?
Right.
And so, for me working for Ralph Lauren at the time, I just took the whole concept and image of branding yourself, and taking it to a level for definitely my people, African American.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
my dad is African, and just taking it there and saying, hey, I can do that for my people too.
Right.
You know, for real, John, you can do it too.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
What's
yeah,
the
same thing? Same
But what's the
concept.
concept behind the actual crown and the markings? Because that's one thing that's caught my interest immediately. And the first thing I thought about, you know what I'm saying, is like black excellence. You know what I'm saying, us being kings
Absolutely.
and queens.
You know, it started. I'm alum of Parsons New School Design, so I spent a lot of time in museums, in the Met, you know,
Yeah.
and then I spent a lot of time in the museums, and I was a big fan and advocate of New York artists like Basquiat and like
Right.
Keith Haring and
Yeah, that was dope.
Matisse, which is not from New York, but you know, just being in those museums,
Yeah.
you see a lot of their work.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was very familiar going to a fashion school about color theory and how colors play, and who was playing on the color.
Right.
So I took the concept of Basquiat, which was the crown,
Yeah.
which was kingdom, which was saying that you are royalty, female and male,
Right.
as a African American.
Right.
The beams was from Keith Haring, because Keith Haring always did paintings, and then the beams was highlighting the actual concept of his art.
Right.
And then the 3 dots was something that I myself and Carter came up with, and it spoke as man, woman, and child. So it meant all. It covered all bases.
Right. That make a lot of sense.
It covered every base. So the 3 dots cover every base. The crown is the base that it covers, showing royalty. The beam is to highlight what you do.
Right.
What it is.
See, like that's like the cool thing to me, is that like I love brands that actually got thought behind them. You know what I'm saying? Because especially like nowadays, like we live in a time where guys are just find like a Bart Simpson picture and just slap it on the shirt.
Absolutely.
This my brand. There's really no thought process that go into a lot of designs that we see. Not to knock anybody brand, you know, whatever worked for you may it continue to work. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just speaking from me being a consumer and a buyer of product. I would more so buy into a product like yours, where it's actually a meaning behind a design, and each piece is saying something. And the fact that you take the time out to handcraft these, you know, these all your garments are touched by you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that I think a lot of people should appreciate coming when they come to the fashion scene and what you're doing, because, you know, a lot of people can just run this design through the printer and print out 100 shirts real quick and get them out the door.
Yeah,
I mean, that worked for a lot of people, but the fact that you touching every piece, you know what I'm saying, that make your stuff stand out a lot more to me. You know what I'm saying? And I can appreciate it a lot more.
It you know, it's a gift and a curse, like Jay.
Yeah,
it's a gift and a curse.
Because I know what's coming in, shit.
It's a gift and a curse, because, you know, those that mass produce get it. And I remember having this conversation with Corey, and he was saying, you need to mass produce. And I said, I know that, but when I start, then I'm you.
Yeah.
And I don't really I want to be Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I want to be me. So the thing, the difference is, you know, it's hand painted, yeah, and it's me, yeah. And the logo was really a drive from Ralph Lauren. You know, I knew he had the logo. You know, and he created. He created a brand, not so much of his life, because Ralph Lauren is not Ralph Lauren. He has a whole different name, but he created a lane for himself and an image that people bought into. And I would love to do that for me and my people. I would love for my people to buy into the brand and the culture and the name as they did Ralph, or they did Tom. Right. So you know, working for those major companies like that, you know, I came out of Parsons and I started work with Ralph Lauren, and later went on to Versace, and, you know, did major work in their corporate offices and stuff like that. But
yeah, I want to get to that. I want to eventually rewind, because I just wanted to start the interview off talking about the meaning of the story behind your designs, and the fact that you actually hand touching each piece. Yeah. Then like that was the thought process coming in. Then I also want to, at that point, so people will understand what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? I want to backtrack and then start talking about, like, how did you get into the fashion world? Like, what was I know, because in Chicago, like, you from Chicago?
I am. I am born and raised. I went to Simeon. I played basketball for Simeon.
That's what's up.
I played basketball for Simeon. Graduated from Simeon in '96. I later went to Virginia Union University, a HBCU, small HBCU in Richmond, Virginia, and through those whole segments of life, it was always fashion. You know, I was a kid that went to Tony Sports. I was that kid that, you know, I knew Deja. You know what I'm saying? I knew, you know, I grew up in the High Park area, you know what I'm saying? So I knew the Sharifs and the Don C's and all them, and they were just as young as I was. So it was just having fun, and it's interesting because all of a sudden it became business. Right. It was real fun. It was recreational, and then it became performance. You know, so that's where it started. Like for all the other ones that came through the pipeline,
Yeah, see, I don't think people understand how fashion in Chicago has been a thing for a long time. Like, it's been a way to like for people to express themselves and make sure that we differ from everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because in Chicago, like we always
Totally
been
different.
like, man, bro, like I ain't trying to dress like you, bro. Like we can all wear similar fits, but the way I'm gonna put mine on is just gonna
Definitely.
be different.
I mean, you knew that from the time. I mean, I knew, me going to Simeon, me growing up and being developed in the High Park region, and then, being an athlete was two totally different lanes. It was like LS Lakeshore Drive, 94, and Eisenhower.
Right.
Them two totally different spots.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I had to adapt being an athlete, and then I had to go and I had to go to Simeon and be a, gangster, and then I had to be in High Park, listen to "Love Me or Leave Me Alone" by Brand New Music, and kick it with guys that were very detailed with garment. So, you spin that record, and then you come up with a masterpiece.
Right. So after attending Simeon, you went to small HBCU.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was like fashion your goal the entire time, or did you have your eyes set on something else?
It was not. I majored in English, minor in criminal justice, and I was planning to go to law school.
Yeah, we need a lot of that right now.
I went.
Going on now.
So at the time, I graduated college. I moved to Northern Virginia, D.C. area, and I worked for the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, juvenile court. And I remember the judge telling me, like, this ain't your calling. So then he told me, man, I know a guy. I have a connect in New York, and at the school. And I was like, what school? He was like, Parsons. And I was like, I never heard of it. He was like, man, you watch Project Runway? And I was like, nah. He was like, dude, I got to connect. I'm going to connect you with. So at the same time, I'm researching that. And then as I research, I find a dude by the name of Oswald Boateng, which is a huge designer in London. He make bespoke suits for everybody.
Oh, okay.
So I write him a letter. This the time where Hotmail was hot.
Right, yeah.
Hotmail.
That was before Gmail.
SBC Global was hot.
Yeah.
So I wrote him a letter saying, hey, I'm African too. My father's from Sudan. I like clothing. I really want to know how to infiltrate the profession. And he wrote me back and told me whatever I needed from him, he'll deliver that. And I told him I lead the letter of recommendation. He wrote my letter of recommendation, and the rest was history.
So you went to what, for people like myself, what was Parsons?
Parsons is the #1 design school in the world. It's great. Developed cats like it developed designers like Marc Jacobs, Tom Ford, Donna Karan.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's a well-known design school.
So looking back, what did you take away from that experience?
Being one of the only blacks that came through that system, I took away, just New York in general.
Yeah,
just living in New York in general, I
vibe.
took away a lot of confidence. Like having confidence in what you do goes a long way.
Yeah.
And being because a lot of people have confidence, like everybody has confidence,
Some level of it.
Yeah.
Some level of it.
But what separates a lot of people with confidence is facts.
Right.
And the fact that you know what you're doing. Like I can walk in a sweatshop and know, like, hey, this is not right, or I know how to hem a pan, and I know how to.
You learned. You actually what did you learn there? Like how to sew, or like how to make sure that a certain piece look the right size for certain
You learn that, but more importantly, you learn how to develop a brand. I develop a line.
Right.
You go to the museums and you find the colors. You look at paintings and you say, "Hey, this fall line, I want it to be apricot and purple." And then you show people how you took an image of a Basquiat painting, and then you added it to garment, and then from garment you added it to marketing, and from marketing you go to, advertising, and from advertising you go from that. So you show people the steps from where it came from your brain
to actually execute.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah, it's like it's like a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Jay walked you through life, his first album,
Right.
Reasonable Doubt.
Right.
He showed you where he was from, and then he gave you the album the way he was from, and then he showed you who he is, and then he showed you the dude he's becoming.
Right.
So every step he showed you what it is.
Right. So, like, as far as like your brand personally, what all types of items do you cover?
Streetwear. I do cut and sew. I started off as a denim, so I will customize denim. I've taken in waist. That's like a tailor. So I taken in waist and tapered legs for my friends, and then I started to distress denim. It's funny because we used to take the garment from the extra fabric from Ralph Lauren that they threw in the trash can,
Right.
and we used to get it out of the trash can and add it to jeans and stuff.
I just seen Sheila do that. Shout out to Sheila Rashid.
Absolutely.
Check out
Absolutely.
her interview on the Flight School
She's
page.
super cool.
Yeah, and she had
super
put
cool.
together these pants of leftover material.
Yeah, that's
You know
what
what
you
I'm
get.
saying? Like, that was one of the first time I seen that done. I'm like, man, that take talent right there.
Hey, they gave us the pig, we made chillin'.
So after your college days, was it immediately after college that you started getting like jobs with like companies like Ralph Lauren?
No, more so I went to Parsons for grad school, so it was shortly after that I started to get those jobs. I took a job because I wanted to know the business at DSW on Fifth Avenue.
Right.
Right by Union Square.
Yeah.
And I was selling shoes and everybody like, you crazy. But I needed to know how to sell in order to sell my own.
Right.
So I wanted to know it from the bottom. Like we were just talking about with Diego, how like you see somebody and you know what they want, so you know how to market them so you can get the best from the situation.
Right.
So I had to know that. I had to learn it. And I knew that. I had a sense of like, man, I need to know how to sell stuff. If I make something, the important thing is knowing how to sell it.
Right, because you can be the most talented person in the world that nobody ever know.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? That's like
Man.
That's like the best. Some of these rappers, the
Man.
best rapper, you can have all those bars,
Man.
but if you don't know how to market yourself to get yourself seen by people and spread awareness, then you just gonna be the talented rapper rapping in your closet or something.
Man, it's a lot of Johnny Kemps out here.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of Johnny Kemps out here.
Yeah. Straight up.
One hit wonder. So, you gotta know how to how to drive that car through that lane.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
if you don't, then
Yeah, you get lost in the sauce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, like, what was some of the companies that you actually eventually started working for
Oh man,
inside the fashion field?
Ralph Lauren, J. Crew, Versace, Hugo Boss.
Yeah, that's what's up.
You
man.
name it.
Yeah, it seems like
You name
bounced
it.
around a lot of different
You
places.
name it.
What did you take away from those experiences? Because some people take away like the networking aspect. They meet a lot of people. Some people take away the actual step-by-step knowledge, or some people just take away how to run a big business.
Right. I took away a lot of things from those major companies. I think more importantly, I took away a lot of information from Leaders, those brands. Leaders, Fashion Geek.
Yeah.
So when I moved back to Chicago, I had to reconnect with these people. You know what I'm saying?
'cause
I
you
didn't
been away
live
for
here.
a while.
Yeah, I left in '96.
Yeah.
I didn't live here. So,
Right.
I didn't know Zoe. I didn't know,
Right.
Dave.
Diego,
I knew
of course.
Dave from back in the day. I knew Diego, who he was,
Yeah.
but I didn't know the Zoes or the Joe Fresh Goods or the Sheilas.
The one
I didn't know
the
that
one
came and I was gone.
Right.
So it was an interesting thing, man. Just to reconnect, come back to the city of Chicago and reconnect with those guys.
Right.
Those guys that are now like they're the focal point of the city.
next movie.
Yeah, they got the city on their back.
Yeah.
So, to reconnect with them, and I have a problem with that. I love it. I love what they're doing. I love what Zoe doing. That's my brother.
Yeah. Shout out to Zoe, man.
Yeah, good brother. I talk to him a lot. Give me advice. Tell me, what he think, and I take it into consideration, and I roll.
So coming back to the crib, and seeing the landscape had changed a little bit. Leader's been always been one of them companies that's always been around. So when you came back and seeing how things changed, how did that affect the way that you planned on approaching your business? Or you still came home with the same plan, like, hey, I see what y'all doing.
It changed
over
a little bit because at the time I wanted to create suiting. I was more so in the suiting game, in which I still will eventually like to do.
So you saying put together an entire suit, or you
absolutely
mean oh damn, that's real talent.
Absolutely. So, connecting with Corey, like I said, Corey, Diego, those guys they put things in a proper perspective, saying, hey, your ending might be suiting, but this is what you need to do to start.
Right.
And then taking that information and saying, okay, how can I add my individuality to it?
Right.
How can I do that?
Right.
So then it was like, okay. So then when you added individuality, you thinking of Ralph. Mm-hmm. You saying, dang, okay, Ralph did this. Or Corey did this with Leaders. Like he named this company Leaders.
Yeah.
He had no blueprint for it.
Right.
I don't know if he woke up on his pillow one morning and said Leaders.
Yeah.
And the kids started clapping. I don't know, but
make sure y'all check out the Corey interview, and the answers to all them questions is definitely in that.
Definitely.
Yeah, you gonna love
it. But those guys sharing their experiences, it's like stew. You put it all in the pot and you mix it, and then you come up with your concept and your art and your delivery. That's what it is.
So as far as the scene in Chicago right now, how do you feel about it right now?
I mean, it's great. It's great. It's grown in so many levels, man. We from an era where two dudes took a towel and made towel coats.
Fact.
Cats was making towel coats.
Straight up.
Yeah, and putting stones on hats and calling them $1.50s.
Yeah.
You went from $1.50 to Just Done.
Yeah. You
went from towel coats to my man Fashion Firm.
Mm-hmm. Man, shout out to Dante. Man.
Dante.
That guy,
grew up with that kid.
That guy's a beast.
Oh, my man.
Yeah,
good buddy. Good buddy of mine. Good brother.
Do you feel like Chicago get the respect it deserves with all those names you just named, including guys like Virgil, Ye, all these guys that's from the city actually doing big things like Corey, Diego, Dave Jubb, Zoe, Vic Lloyd, Joe Fresh, all these guys. And we pretty much got the scene on lock, whether it's music, fashion, whatever. You see rappers copying our slang.
Right.
You see people dressing like people from here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I always ask that question, do you think the city get the respect it deserves?
It do. They never show it.
It's
But
more of
it's
a
okay.
behind the door
Yeah, it's
type
okay.
love. They don't acknowledge it. They don't want to acknowledge it.
It's like the drunk uncle in your family,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like Jay said, like the drunk uncle.
Yeah.
Like you got so many lanes. Like rap, you got so many lanes. You got the, shout out to Pee Wee and Arnold, Sir and Madam, great company, great. They do awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Like, man, spend my last on it.
So you think the city do get it's just dues?
Oh yeah, it do. But like I said, it's never gonna be on a page of Paris or New York or LA because they're just not gonna. They're just not gonna give it that homage. But I don't think we really care.
No,
I don't think we
so.
really care. That's
think-
not the
Yeah, I don't
that's not
think
the
we-
modus operandi.
I don't think we
I
look
don't
at
think
that right
any of them or me is just getting out in the world what you lay on your pillow and think about at night.
Yeah, right. Facts.
Period.
So, I mean, since we're on the topic of talking Chicago, like, I always ask this question also, like, how do you feel about shopping local or shopping with brands that you are familiar with compared to, I consider it like almost like clout chasing when
Right.
you following behind certain brands to post this pic, you know what I'm saying? When really, and you would value this brand. Like we just seen an incident with Gucci recently,
Right.
Moncler,
That's tough.
and with the
It's tough.
blackface, and they showing like
That's
they.
tough.
It's either a very high level of ignorance,
Right.
or it's just a slap in your face or right in your face like we don't care about this.
I think
Compared to
working
companies that's
working
like
for
leaders,
those brands,
that's part of the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. Yeah. Working for
People
those
sometimes
brands.
will devalue a brand like leaders and just say, "Oh, that's just a local thing." But quality-wise, if we talking quality, these shirts that you'll get, hoodies that you'll get from here, same thing you'll find in Nordstrom's, Barney. You know what I'm saying? Same quality level. They got a different name and a different part of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So people
right.
value it a lot more. That's why I asked that.
Well, what people don't understand is when that's what it comes to play. Like that's when Parsons stuff to play. Because it's only so many places that have fabric meals. It gotta come from something. A hoodie, cotton. They gotta shave an animal to get it, or like a lambskin coat. They gotta shave a lamb. Now, how many of us own a lamb?
Right.
You know,
Thinking about it.
right? So when you think about it, from step one, everybody goes to the same spot because Ralph ain't got no lamb.
Right.
Tom Ford own a lamb.
Right.
I mean, the only person I read about that I acknowledge and know is lamb and own this is like Cuccinelli and like Loro Piana. They have meals. But Ralph Lauren don't own a meal. Tom Ford don't own a meal.
Right. So
they resourcing just like us.
Right.
So you're us.
Right.
You doing the same stuff we doing.
Right.
But it's glorified because they've paid and marketed to certain people that are influencers to the lower level of people. Because it's levels. It's levels. It's like the senior. It's like a senior in high school. A senior in high school to a freshman is looked at like he's praised. Like, oh my God. Because he's a senior.
Right.
But one day that freshman gonna be a senior.
Right.
So it's a praise, but it's not so much a praise. I just want my people to look at it from a respect.
Right.
Like I don't gotta praise you. I don't praise Ralph Lauren. I respect him.
Right.
Cause dude grind. I've been in his system. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I know how the system works, so I've seen it. But do I praise them? Nah, I praise my parents. I praise,
Right.
the Lord. But, nah. But I think with that whole Gucci, Prada, and all that, you're talking about European companies that know, but they really don't know.
Right.
They They don't know Larry Hoover. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just know. Yeah. They don't know mild sauce come on Harold's wing. You know, like the intricate of knowing they don't know. But what they do know is what they doing is insulting because they do have American Connect.
Right, that's what I would think.
Yeah, so it's a gift and a curse, and sometimes those companies will play on it. But my thing is this: if you mess up, stand on your faults.
Right. Don't try to backtrack.
Don't try to backtrack. Say, man, it was my fault. It was wrong, and then you work on to fix it.
Right.
Fix it. But
so, like, do you feel like? Because I've been trying to use this moment to steer people in the direction I already been trying to steer them. I'm like, I'm one of them guys that only wear, brands that I'm familiar with. Like, if I know the person who behind this, you know what I'm saying, then I'll support it. You know what I'm saying? But a major portion of my life, I was just buying the same thing, you know, just buying for the brand name and not really paying attention with who I'm spending my money with and how much money I'm spending with them. You know what I'm saying? Compared to what if I come to a place like Leaders or I go shop at Success, like I know where my money is going. It's going, and eventually it's gonna come back to my community.
My teammate.
You know what I'm saying? Like. That's why I've been trying to use this moment as much as possible. So, all right, if y'all off this wave, then let's get on this wave. Like I've been trying to tell y'all the whole time.
Well, yeah, it's the old saying, like Common said, you know, some days I take the bus home just to touch home. You know, you could take the train, but it's other routes to the crib. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you use those avenues to better yourself, like. You know, I use different avenues and I collab and connect with different people to get what I need to get. If that's with, if that's with talking to Zoe, if that's talking to BB.
Shout out to BB.
BB Jones, you know, she's super cool. If that's talking to Brandy, Penelope. You know, if that's talking to, whoever, what I need to get to make everything work, that's what you do. And I think that's the great thing with Chicago is that the circle is so small.
Yeah, it is.
It's so small. Yeah, and then everybody knows each other. Now, it's pockets.
Yeah.
You know, it's pockets within that circle, but primarily... It's a circle. If you need them, they be like, yeah.
And you gotta be a real one. You gotta be genuine to even be part of that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's one thing I will say about that. You know what I'm saying? Like it is a group of I would say leaders. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Leaders of Chicago. And you gotta, if you wanna be involved in anything that's moving out here, like you gotta be genuine and real. That's one thing I learned. But one thing, but just moving forward, like for Stephen Powell garments, what can we expect to see for the rest of 2019 and on forward?
Well, you can definitely expect to see mass production being cut and sew, label. We talking Oxfords. We're talking denim jackets. Developing the brand, and it takes time. You know, like when you read the history of fashion houses, they didn't start with everything. They started with one thing.
Right.
You know, Ralph was a men's line. He started with neckties. Now look at him. He had women's and everything. Right. So it's baby steps. You know, I make sweatshirts. You know, who knows? You know, I definitely look to collaborate with a lot of the Chicago people because I love them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I would love to do something with leaders. I would love to do something with Fashion Geek. I've said this in the interview before. Like, man, I would love to do something with my people first.
Yeah.
First. But ultimately for Stephen Powell Garment, I just want to get the dream across. The dream that I laid on my pillow in New York City at Parsons and thought about. That's the ultimate goal.
Hey, and just like that, man, it's Flight School TV here with Stephen Powell, and we out, man.
Thank you.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
What's good TV?